Hello and welcome to my Dark Souls 1 Remastered walkthrough. I've been a very big fan of the Souls series for a very long time. On PlayStation, I actually have Platinum in all of the games, from Demon Souls on the PS3, Dark Souls 1 on the PS3, Dark Souls 2 on the PS3, everything on the PS4, and everything on the PS5 as well. The only games I'm not really a fan of are the Neo series. It's not really my thing, but I've really enjoyed all the Souls games: Demon Souls, Bloodborne, Elden Ring, Sekiro, all really good stuff. And I've been a very big fan. I was never sure if I wanted to do this kind of series, but let's see where it goes. It's something I've been wanting to do for a very long time because it's very enjoyable. It's very fun. So we're going to start off with a name, and I think we'll just keep it simple. And then we're going to call him LP. It's like Let's Play. Nah, it's more like a walkthrough. WT, walkthrough. Bang. Done. Perfect. It is going to... Our gender's going to be male. None of this... Most of this doesn't really matter. It's like the appearance, the physique, none of that matters. The two important things are the class and the gift. And maybe the name if you're like really, really cool and tricky. So there's so many different play styles, and all of these different classes facilitate those. So you have like warrior and knight, which are pretty middle of the road. They're like your standard, like you're gonna use like a regular weapon, be a little tanky, be a little on the heavier side, that kind of stuff. Wanderer is like if you want to go for like dex-based weapons. Thief is also dex-based, but he also has lower stats because he actually has a very big advantage of having the Master Key. Master Key is a very, very important item early on in the game because it lets you skip a little bit of side stuff, and it basically saves you the necessity of having to get the Master Key as a gift for your starting character. The Bandit, you start with some high strength, and you also get a bow. No, you don't get a bow. You get a very good shield, the Spider Shield. Hunter starts with the bow. Yep. Keep clicking that. And then we get to the way out there, guys. We have the Sorcerer, who does magic, or spells, or sorceries. And then we have the Pyromancer, who casts fire, and the Cleric, who does miracles. And these can range from a variety of like offensive and utility based stuff. And then we have the Deprived, which has like the best starting level and stats and whatnot. But we're not going to worry about that. We're not going to look at this naked man run around. Usually I go for like the Wanderer because I really like the Fashion Souls. We're not going for like a specific build or any kind. What I want to go for in this playthrough is like how I would usually play through the game. I'm not gonna abuse any glitches like on camera. Maybe if I have to grind or something for like something, then I'll use like the duplication glitch just to save me some time. I'm a very busy man. But just pathings, items that I would recommend you get if it's like your first playthrough or your second playthrough, you're having trouble, you don't really fully know what you're doing. This is kind of stuff like that. For a gift, most of these get outclassed later, or they don't really do anything, especially none. That does absolutely nothing. The Old Witch's Ring, I believe, does nothing. I could be wrong. There was something that doesn't do anything. Not the Goddess's Blessing. Yeah, I believe it was the Old Witch's Ring. I think it does absolutely nothing. No, the Pendant. The Pendant does absolutely nothing. The Old Witch's Ring is useful for something later on, but on a side path. I was wrong. The Pendant does nothing. So we're gonna go with the Master Key just to make things easier to go along. This doesn't really matter, but I typically like to go for the very slim character. We're gonna go with Jubilant Katarina, because he's just so happy. He seems like he's having a great time. And then Parted Center. This is how like all of my Dark Souls 1 characters look. And then black hair. You could even go farther if you really want to like change your character and like some like details, but we're not gonna worry about all that. We're gonna be wearing armor most of the time. It doesn't really matter, to me at least. Maybe you want a character that doesn't wear a helmet, so you really want them to look nice, have some funky hair and all that. It's not really that important.
The world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arched trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart their stone scales. The witches weaved great firestorms. Nito unleashed a miasma of death and disease. And Seath, the scales, betrayed his own, and the dragons were no more. Thus began the Age of Fire. But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers, and man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark sign.
I hope the volume was good enough, because I didn't really want to talk through cutscenes.
Yes, indeed. The dark sign brands the undead. And in this land, the undead are corralled and led to the north. Where they are locked away to await the end of the world.
And thus, our journey begins. So we're gonna go right into it. We're gonna pick up the cell key and escape the cell. I've gotta say, I've played through these games so many times, and after a couple of times, you've seen the cutscene so many times, you don't even care, you remember it. But I haven't watched the cutscene in so long like that, and just, fully taking it in after, experiencing the game, knowing the lore and everything. It feels different. It feels like I'm still watching it for the first time, even after all these years. So we're gonna come up on our first bonfire. We're just gonna light it right up. Now, if you remember correctly, on the starting class selection screen, we had all these weapons, shields, and whatnot. But we've got this little nonsense right here. It's a little hilt. Don't worry about it. We're gonna get our weapons soon. So you come up right here. We have our tutorial boss, but we're just gonna run right past him. I might be skilled enough to kill him with this, but I'm not patient enough to do it. Which I guess in a way means I'm not skilled enough. Now the little message says to get your shield. It's exactly what we're gonna do. Our little leather shield. You're supposed to like shield past this guy, but it's like so irrelevant. Shields in this game are only important for parrying. Parrying is like the most important thing. It's like if you can parry in Dark Souls 1, if you learn like parry timings and whatnot, you're gonna have a blast. You're gonna, like, most enemies that parry aren't gonna give you any trouble. It's a great skill to learn, easy to practice. You can go fight enemies till you die, it doesn't matter.
Oh, you. You're no hollow. Thank goodness. I'm done for, I'm afraid. I'll die soon, then lose my sanity.
I think I put the volume too low. Don't think you can quite hear him. So I'm just gonna skip through this. Basically, this man is the Oscar of Astoria. He gives us his key, he gives us Estus, and he tells us what we should do on our journey. But, we don't need him, you have me. And it's kind of like, it's very, like, almost biblical, the light shining down on him. He's, at his end.
I would hate to harm you, and thank you.
He's giving us his final words. He helps us out. He's the guy who gave us the key. And if you heard that noise, that's the sound of him dying. And we get souls from it. Souls are like currency, what you spend to level up. Souls are essentially everything. And we're gonna drop down here and we get a little shortcut to our bonfire. Now Estus is infinite and finite. You get what's it called? You get Estus replenished at the bonfire. You can hold a certain amount of them, depending on little factors. This guy's kicking my ass. This is an ill omen of what's to come. It's a little tricky to try and think what I should be explaining and what I shouldn't be, because like it's hard to say like what level of player I want to be, like what level of player I'm aiming to help. Alright, you don't want to be so greedy and just run and gun it, but like I said, I'm very impatient. Over here we have a little bit of a tougher enemy, at least for this part. That is not how you parry at all. Also, different kinds of shields and different kind of parrying weapons have different timings. Oh, look at his helmet. It's kind of lucky. They have different timings, so it's like getting used to it, trying out different stuff. This looks way too goofy. We're gonna enter up here, and we're gonna see the boss. We're just gonna run off, press R1, and we're gonna do a plunging attack. Easy. If you've been paying attention, there's a bunch of messages on the ground, and a terrible roll. It's hard to call myself a great player when I'm already messing up so much. This is the first time I've played on like camera recording, talking, and stuff like that. It's just gonna take some getting used to. This attack is the easiest to punish. He's down for so long. But I can trade with him. And easy. We get our key, and it's time to go. There's nothing else we can really do here. There's an item we can grab and an NPC we can speak to. But that's basically it for the tutorial. There's a bunch of messages around to teach you how to play. It's attacking, moving, camera, and all that. And over here we have NPC, which you can like drop certain items, and then when you quit the game, load back in, there will be like other items for you. Depending on what you dropped, it's only like certain things you can trade.
Only in the ancient legends it is stated that one day an undead shall be chosen. To leave the undead asylum in pilgrimage to the land of the ancient lords. Lordran.
Well, isn't that just the sickest possible Uber, right? So now we are in Firelink. This is the main hub, the most important one. There's other little like side hubs you can kind of like curate to say, but this is definitely the best. It's in the middle of everything. It's so interconnected with some of the early game areas. It's a pretty solid spot. I like it. I'd buy a home here. So from killing the boss, the soul item we picked up, all this other stuff, the enemies we killed, we have 3 levels. Now, I'm not going for anything in particular. I've played through these games so much. I've used a variety of weapons. I'm most likely just going to level up dexterity and strength to fit whatever weapon I want to use in that time and place. Because I don't like sticking to one thing. I don't like getting like one weapon unless I'm doing like a one weapon kind of run or like a cosplay or something. I don't like sticking to one weapon. I find it very boring, and I find having like a variety of weapons in your arsenal, it's very useful for different kinds of bosses, different kinds of enemies, different invasions and whatnot. It's just a lot better for different scenarios. Like I like having like a fast weapon for bosses. I like having like a strong, slow weapon to take care of mobs, things like that. So there's no early game weapon I want to grab yet, so we're gonna stick to the scimitar for a little bit. So we're just gonna put them all 3 points into endurance. You don't have to exactly follow me. You can kind of do whatever you want. I just take a overview of what the levels do. Vitality is your health. Actually, I should get some souls so you can see. You can see the stats it brings up, because it does show you. So we'll come back to that in just a minute. We're going to talk to this guy over here. His name is Petrus.
I believe I am Petrus of Thailand. If not...
So he kind of shrugs you off. You talk to him again.
I realize, but I also want you here. No, good.
He gives you a copper coin. I'd be kind of lit if I got a copper coin.
I have to await my companion. So what if I were to teach? Would that please?
And he offers to teach you some miracles. He asks if you want to join a covenant. you lose nothing from joining certain covenants. It's you might as well.
Now, let only...
And then teaches a gesture, shrug, best Dark Souls 1 gesture. And then these are the miracles he teaches you. So if you have a cleric build, or you want to go for some kind of cleric build, or some kind of like miracle build, I should say, these are some really good, these are some pretty solid early game miracles. Heal, just having, like, it's like extra Estus that just casts a little slower. Force is pretty useful in certain scenarios. Homeward is really, really nice to have. It saves you a lot of souls in the early game when, like, souls are kind of finite, kind of hard to get. Not really finite and hard to get. It's a very low amount per enemy and bosses. So like spending them on the homeward bones gets to be a bit much. So if you just save up the 8,000 for homeward, then basically always have it pays for itself, because you can start using it for whatever lazy means necessary. Very nice, very cool. Great Heal Excerpt is a weaker. I don't think it's a weaker version. I think it's just a less useless version of Great Heal. So we have Heal, we have Great Heal Excerpt, so you can tell there's different level of healings, different levels of stuff. And then Talismans. So even if you didn't start as a cleric, you can talk to this guy and you can pick up the cleric build and start leveling up appropriately.
Come again. The effect...
Now around Firelink Shrine, there's a couple of items we want to get. There's actually a good amount of like starting stuff. There's like a small variety of weapons, some useful utility items. Over here we have what looks like to be like a pit, fall to your death, but you don't, gladly. And out here we have a couple of chests. So we have the Homeward Bones, like I was speaking to earlier. We're gonna want to equip those like right away. Like Homeward Bones are, as literally as you can see, second to Estus. And as you saw there, we picked up a talisman, so you don't even need to buy a talisman. Cracked red eye orbs, not going to be useful for us because I'm playing offline. We're not going to be doing any invasions and stuff like that, and we're not going to be getting invaded because that sounds like a hassle to try and deal with. Lloyd's talismans, which have a couple of niche uses, which are going to be nice. And over here, there are some enemies here, and they're a little strong, so we're going to be fast. We're just going to run through here and just grab the loot we can. As you see, these guys are copying my style. They got like the small shields and the round the scimitar, Zweihander, power up the base cannon and whatnot. Binoculars. What looks to be certain death. Yeah, it happens. This gotta be a little faster. Then when we die, our souls are gonna drop, but we have the opportunity to pick them up again. Now, if I were to die again, then our souls are gonna drop again, which is gonna overwrite the first drop, and it's just gonna be gone forever. So we're gonna do our best to make sure that does not happen. I missed an item over there. The weapon we just picked up, the Zweihander, it's actually a pretty good weapon. It's pretty low in requirements, so it doesn't take a crazy amount. I believe it's 24 strength to one hand, but you can two-hand it with 16 strength, and I got stuck. Yeah, but you can two-hand it with 16. One-handed with, two-handed with 16, and I think it's like 14 dexterity. We can check in a moment, because obviously all the weapons are going to tell you what they need. It'd be kind of crazy if they didn't. And we picked up a winged spear, which is I've never used a spear weapon in any of these games. I think I've used like halberds, but I've never used just like a regular spear, at least not for long. So it's not really something I'm used to, so I can't really comment on it. Now those skeletons kind of can follow you over here, so we're gonna rest right away. So we're going to use all of these soul items. Some people like to save their soul items, but I just use them right away. Right. So HP is going to increase, or vitality is going to increase our HP as well as our defenses by a little bit. I think everything increases your defenses by a little bit. Attunement is going to, at certain breakpoints in the levels, it's going to increase the amount of slots you have, and attunement slots are for miracles, sorceries, pyromancies. So it's very necessary if you have those kinds of builds. If you don't even bother. Endurance is for stamina and equip load, which is I think one of the most important things to level up early on, because you want to have a very good roll as soon as possible with some decent equipment, decent weapons. That's like priority number one. Like a lot of people say, like, level vitality earlier, because it's good to have, like, because you get a lot of health early on, and it's good to have a lot of health, which I'm not saying it's not. I just think it's better to avoid getting hit than being able to take a couple of hits. Maybe even some middle ground, maybe a little bit of both. That's just me. Strength and dexterity are weapon requirements for different kinds of weapons. Resistance is pointless. I believe it also helps with bleed resistance, but it's just pointless. There's no point. Don't touch it. Intelligence is what you need for sorceries, and faith is what you need for miracles. And those of you who are very observant will tell that we went through two of the kind of spells that there are, but there are three. Technically four, but we'll get to that when we get to that. The third one, pyromancies, don't have any requirements. They don't have any level requirements. You just need attunement. That's it. So it's a very, very friendly option. And it's very strong. Very strong. You don't need any levels, but it is very expensive still. But we'll get to that when we get to that. I'm going to put 2 more into endurance. Yeah. Yeah, put 2 into endurance. Doesn't matter. I skipped over this guy. I don't really like him. He kind of just complains. Complains about you. Complains about himself. He's no hope. He's a loser. You don't want people like that in your life. Now, the path we should be going is up there. However, because we got the master key, we can do a couple of things to make our run easier before we even start anything. Also down here is the firekeeper who tends to the bonfire. Yep, there's nothing we can really do. So we're going to come down here, and this is the path to a completely different area, but it doesn't really matter. We're not about to fight all the enemies and do all that kind of nonsense. This shield looks nicer, but we can grab some later game items pretty early on to help us out. So we've got an even bigger soul. You can tell because the icon's bigger. All the souls are named, but it's whatever. And down here we have an NPC who is a blacksmith. And he sells some sorceries, so if you change your mind and you want to become a sorcerer, he has a couple of options. But pretty early on we have another NPC coming up, and he has even more options, and these are just offensive options, and that guy has some utility and offensive. And he's also a blacksmith, so he can help you to repair, upgrade, and that kind of stuff. Your weapon, your armor, you can repair stuff. 4 souls, it's basically free. Moving on, up here, typically you'd have to come from the other side and get the key, but because we have the master key, it doesn't matter to us. So we grab that other soul. We're going to come back here in just a moment, but there's one thing we got to grab over here. Oh, and I don't know if I did it, But another thing you should get used to is sending up elevators. It makes things easier later on in a variety of cases. Sometimes you're just going to run back, so it doesn't matter, but pretty important. Yep, there's an item right over here. The S-Stock. This is another weapon that's an option for you. This is a rapier thrusting weapon. So it's like a, it's very fast, and as it sounds, you thrust. Over here, we're going to break this, and then we get transient curses. We technically would need this right now for this area, but it's not important for what we have to do. We're not going to fight any enemies. That just enables you to be able to fight the enemies coming up, because they have like a gimmick to them, but we're just running through here to grab something. And we're not even running through the full area. We're just running through a little bit. So we'll run past, grab this, and we're gonna homeward bone as fast as possible. You want to be quick, otherwise you get caught and you get killed. Now the item we just picked up was a Firekeeper soul, and what you can do with that is you can give it to the Firekeeper to make your Estus a little bit stronger. So you see that 10 Estus plus 1. That does not mean we have 11. That just means we have 10 at an upgraded amount that they heal. And then we're going to go back down. This is why you want to send elevators up. It just makes things easier. And then we're going to go back the other way. There's a couple of things we can grab here, but they're pretty. There's only two main ones that I want to grab, and that's because this is a later game area. It's not like insanely late, but it's late enough for what we're at, and it's a little tricky. As you can tell by the lighting and everything, the gargantuan size of those enemies, this area is a little rough. I don't really think this chest matters because, yeah, that's just the key for the door we just unlocked. But like I said, we had the what's it called, so it didn't even matter. The master key. I'm gonna drop down, drop down, drop down. Make our way over here. Maybe I didn't drop down enough. Yeah, as you can see by our damage, we should not be here. Oh, I missed. This area is a very tricky area to navigate. And it's not really the funnest area in the game, but I'll probably just cut to when I'm there. Alright, we're back at the ladder. Make our way down. Make our way down once more. Make our way down thirds more. These guys are a pain in the ass. You want to try not to get hit. We get a soul of a proud knight, and then down here, we have another Firekeeper soul. We're probably not going to make it out of this alive, but nope, doesn't matter. I didn't even grab my souls. This is like 100 souls. It's like whatever. Main thing is that we got that Firekeeper soul. There's an armor set I want to grab here, just because it's like it's some AO1 fashion, but I really don't want to deal with that again. I despise Blighttown, especially at a low level like this. It is not fun. So we're gonna give in one Estus flask, or one Firekeeper Soul to upgrade our healing by a little bit more. And then we are going to take one more detour. And there's one last item I want to grab. I always grab it as soon as I can. This is like what I'm really trying to show in this run is like the routes that I would take, especially getting things started. Because like in the Souls games, like if you just like jump right into it your first time, you're gonna have a great time. But then if you try and come up with a route for yourself that you know will give you a good start that you need to like come up with whatever kind of build you want, that kind of stuff, it makes things a lot smoother. You know, you don't have to like worry about dredging through the whole game and dealing with whatever all over again. This is the easiest. We got a sleeping enemy over here. We're gonna let him be. I'm just gonna grab these for no reason whatsoever. Wow, one shot. I wasn't expecting that. Maybe I was supposed to pick up the other items first. There's like, I don't remember which item it was, but there's one of them when you pick it up, that's when he wakes up. Maybe it was the soul item. Since we're back, we might as well level up. Because we have a bunch of souls. Make the run a little bit better. This is a really nice shield. Alright, look at that. We've got nearly 6,000 souls already. We haven't even done anything. We've barely done anything. We've got 2 Estus. I'm going to look something up real quick, because I don't remember off the top of my head the stats I need for a certain shield. Because that's what we're about to grab. And we just need 10 strength, and lo and behold, look what we got. I'll bump up endurance a bit more, just so we're still rolling good with that shield. Surprisingly enough, it's like I don't think it's like that crazy of a parrying shield, but it's got such a great effect that it's like so worth to grab in this game as early as you can. It makes things very smooth, and it's a very fun shield. It especially suits my playstyle. I'm a very aggressive, go in there and just like all out attack and like get as many attacks in as possible and then dodge out of the way. So it's like it increases your stamina regen speed. So it's just so handy because of that. It is a bit of a trek though. That's the only thing that sucks about it. Also, the sword and shield we picked up from this guy over here, it's the same sword and shield that our friend Oscar back at the what's it called? Back at the first spot. This guy's easy to run past. He spews poison, you just run away. Now these guys are pretty tough, and this like this pathing is a little difficult to get past them. It can be a little tricky. It's not really that difficult, especially when you do things like that. A little crevice in here, grab a humanity. I got a little spooked. There's no reason to jump there. That stuff we're not gonna grab. It's not really necessary right now. We're probably gonna die if we do get that. We're gonna come up over here and take this elevator up. Now, one thing I don't like about Dark Souls 1 is that the early game is just an intense amount of running around. There's so much backtracking and trekking through. So it does get better later on, but it's something to be weary of. We're gonna skip that bonfire because, like I said, we don't want to deal with all that backtracking. Come over here and grab the grass crest shield, and we're still rolling strong. Like I said about parrying, this is a pretty damn tough enemy. But as long as we can parry him, there's no issue. Now we're not doing much damage, but we're trying to like inch him towards the edge. Wow, that was terrible. You can also retreat over here. He's just not gonna come in here. Swivel around and backstab. These camera angles are horrible, but work with what you can, right? I think one more. Nope, he's going. And for our troubles, we get a blue Titanite chunk, and we get a ton of souls as well. And while we're here, there's one more thing we can grab, and then we're gonna skedaddle on out of here. I also like how the grass cut shield, like the color scheme on it, the like half and half. The you can't really see it that good in this lighting. I'll show you in Firelink. So we get some new armor, and we get the longbow and some arrows. Yeah, I like this color scheme. It's like yellow and like silver, and then like black and silver. It's so nice. Beautiful, beautiful shield. We didn't pick up any more souls, but we can level up a little bit more. 20 endurance is pretty solid for now. I don't think we're gonna pick up any heavy armors anytime soon, but we'll start on the vitality, get some levels there. I'm not really sure what kind of weapon I'm gonna use first. Well, I don't really have a choice. I'm the broken. The first weapon we've used is technically the hilt, and the second is the scimitar. So now we're going to come up here, now that all our preparations are pretty much done for now, and then we're just going to trek through the enemies. He just gave me his back. I don't know why he did that. He's an absolute fool. Alright, was it circle to jump? Yeah. Alright, so over here, this is a pretty handy item for later. So you're just going to run with circle, and then while you're running, just press circle again. Tap it again, I should say, and then you're just going to jump. Go around the edges, and we get the Ring of Sacrifice. That is going to save us a world of trouble in like hours of gameplay. It gets a little annoying when this guy comes down here, but what can you do? I'll try out the S-Stock for a little bit. I don't think I've ever used it in this game. Wow, that is beautiful. Yeah, so these weapons have very low damage, but they have very fast attack speed. So it's very, very good trade-off, depending on the kind of enemy you're fighting. If they can get staggered easily, then you just wail on them and they can't do anything. But if you're fighting a heavier enemy, you're in for a world of pain. And now we are arriving in the first area that we're actually going to go through. Yeah, the very low damage. It's kind of annoying me. I don't know the stats for that. Yeah, we'll stick to it for a little bit. There is a vendor coming up to sell some weapons. There's actually a couple of vendors coming up. It's quite a bit coming up. So we're gonna drop. Am I heavier now? Oh, I'm heavier now. Yeah, we don't want that. Yeah, we're gonna switch back to this. And over here we have a little item. I should say, I'm not going to be going for every item in the game. I'm not going to be showing you like where to get everything. Just whatever's necessary, whatever's easy to get that can help you out for your run. That kind of stuff. Order you should fight bosses and whatnot. Simple things like that. So we grab that rubbish, and it turns out to be a trap. There's a couple of dudes. We're just gonna avoid them. Not really necessary. Yeah, that's exactly what you want to do, but like, not what you want to have happen to you. Of course, they followed me. The scimitar is also pretty fast, but it's not really my kind of weapon. I don't know what it is about it, but like, it just does not appeal to me in any kind of way. I don't know why. It's just not. I don't know. It's not that I don't like curved swords. It's just not me. So over here, we're gonna see a drake, not a dragon, a drake. We can tell because he stands on his back legs. There's quite a few enemies here to clear out, but this is the first area of the game. They're not insanely difficult. They're especially like, they're like just annoying enough to where like, no matter like how much you play this game, these guys will annoy you in some way, shape, or form. But they're also not like tough enough to where it's like a beginner is gonna like struggle. These guys are a little annoying as a duo. There's a couple of ways you can go about it. You can just if you have a heavy enough weapon or fast enough weapon, you can just attack them until their stamina runs out, or it just never runs out. Maybe the scimitar doesn't do that enough. You can also circle around them and backstab. It's easy. Except for this guy. This guy's a pro. You can also do damage through their shields. Not every shield is like 100% block rate. We're gonna come up over here, and we have a vendor. This guy sells a few things. We don't have to worry about the dried finger, the orange soapstone. These are like multiplayer items. Repair powder. None of this stuff is immediately useful, or even later useful. Lloyd's talismans are like kind of useful, but like 4 is like probably enough for most of the game. The key you're gonna need if you don't have. I think you need it. We're just gonna buy it, whatever. I think you need it regardless if you have the master key or not. So we're just gonna get it just in case, because I don't remember. There's a couple of different weapons here. Reinforced club's really good. I never used it, because I don't really like clubs. Buckler, I believe, is a really good parry shield. I think it's been good since like the beginning of time. It's like always like a top tier parrying shield in like every game. Arrows, chain armor, but actually leather gauntlets are kind of nice looking. But yeah, we don't need anything else for right now. Are they heavier? They're kind of heavier. Is it gonna send me over? Yeah. So we're gonna run up over here, and we've got another little ambush. I don't know what it is about these guys, but these guys are like pitifully weak enemies. Yet in a group, they're like king of the skull servants, man. It's like they're just so tough in a group. It's a little annoying because you never want to like overestimate and say like you have trouble with like the simplest enemy in the game, but like everyone does at some point. So we're gonna come up on this ladder and get 10 throwing knives. So you really didn't need to buy them. And then if you run and jump over here, there's a little room up here, and you can grab, not on this side, and you can grab a crossbow and some bolts. So far we've got a bow, some arrows, a crossbow, some bolts, a couple of different weapons, a couple of different NPCs that can get us stuff. We've got a nice little shield that increases our stamina regen to make running back and forth pretty fast. And we've got +2 Estus. We haven't even reached the first boss yet. But we've reached our first bonfire checkpoint. And I think there's a lot going on in the video. I think it's a good place to end it. So remember to like. Let's level up first. We got 5 soul of lost undeads. It's probably like 1,000. Yep. Which I don't think is enough, actually. It's not. How sad. How much does Hollow give us? Maybe I'll just kill a few until we get there. What do we need, like 16 something? Yeah, we should get there pretty fast. Kill those shield guys and we'll be there. Oh, nice. Actually, we don't even need the shield guys. Alright, so nice. We can end it off on 1 level up. Alright. So we're going to end this episode off here. I hope this little beginning part was pretty information heavy. I hope you guys learned quite a bit on a decent little start and a couple of things you can grab to make things easier. If you guys have any recommendations on other stuff I should point out, let me know and I'll make a note of it in the next video. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and make sure you check out the next video that pops up on the screen.